Welcome to TimeBolt office hours on April 7, 2022. We have our first customer, Dylan. And how can we help you out today, Dylan?
Yeah, so I messaged yesterday about an issue I was having with Premiere's multicam
That's right.
function.
And I've got that video that I can play.
I can just go through it again. Doesn't take too long to explain. Um this is the completely synced sequence that I'm through TimeBolt. Sorry, I woke up like an hour ago. It is basically just a multicam sequence that has it's a multicam sequence that has two cameras, gameplay sequences that I've went and synced up. And then these three audio tracks are all separate. This is one audio track, the host's audio track, this is Discord's audio, and then this is the gameplay audio that's synced to the multicam sequence. And when I run it through TimeBolt, it looks like this, which is great. But the multicam function isn't there anymore, which is very strange to me, and I don't know why it's happening, but it is. And I have double checked that it is the same sequence. Like, it's not making a new sequence that's also called multicam. That was the first thing that I thought, that it was just making like a normal sequence called multicam. But if I click on something else and then right click it and do reveal in project, then it is this multicam sequence.
Can you run the process and show us what you're doing exactly? Like how you
Sure.
like how you get the output.
Attention. I'll just do it to the video since that's the one that matters. You can see it says MC1 right there.
Yeah.
And I can hit 2 and 1. I guess this shows it better. So this is both of the cameras here. And then if I apply the file, I take a minute. Oh, I shouldn't have done it in that sequence. Whatever. I have backups. I mean, you can already see it's doing it in the background, but you can already see that the cuts it's already made has removed the multicam function, which is so weird because I don't know why.
Is that like a sequence? It's not the source file, right?
No, it's a sequence.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't work on sequences. It only works on source files.
No, it does. I've been using it on sequences for weeks now. I just haven't tried it on a multicam sequence before. Because what I've been doing is, as I messaged you guys of like when I first tried it, about it wasn't working when I think it was the video was before the audio. And the way that I fixed that was in Premiere, I just added just to make everything zero out at the starting point, I would nest everything so that it's all the same. Once this finishes, I can show you what I mean.
It's not intended to because of a few limitations we have with working with Premiere Pro API. It's not recommended that you run it on sequences. Yeah, so we're not able to access the abstraction. So the sequence is basically an abstraction of files, right? It's not the source file, it's an abstraction. You combine them in multiple files and then you make a sequence. So that's why this particular extension, it works very well with the source file, but I can't guarantee that it will work very well with sequences because of limitations with the API.
I know you guys, there is functionality for multicam, but it's like, and I feel like because multicam in Premiere is like different than just saying it works with multiple cameras. Because when you're saying it works with multiple cameras, really what you're saying is just you can run it on multiple tracks. Yeah, which is not multicam, because multicam is a function in Premiere that I use literally daily for my job.
Okay.
And this is the first time that I've tried it on this workflow, because the last time I tried it, I forgot to just try multicam. Like I forgot to make the multicam sequence before I use TimeBolt, and I was like, I'll just do it the old way, where I just hide the track that I don't need for that specific moment. So I think that's the officially supported way that you guys say to do it.
It is probably working.
Yeah, the task manager shows that Premiere's still doing stuff. So
okay, let's just stop there. Like, what you're doing over here is you are applying them individually to each track, right? So once this finishes, you go to the audio track A9, then A10, and then A11. So that's how you're doing it, right? Okay, then let's just go to the output, right? You can stop this. You can like end the task. Then we can just go to the output and see what it looks like.
Because that's the other sequence I was showing you is they already run it through this. And I guess this is what I was talking about earlier. So all of these are sequences, and this is normally how I would do it. Like, pretend this isn't a multicam sequence, and this is just one video. This is how I have been doing it, because usually the person who records the video starts the video before he starts the audio. And because of that, usually what I'll do is, so this is the raw file right here. This is just padding This is just bars and tone that I've silenced out completely to add so that the audio and the video start at the same time, and then I just nest them. And then also there's he records multiple videos even though I ask him not to. So sometimes I'll add more padding or fill it in with other audio so that it ends up becoming one just homogeneous sequence that TimeBolt sees as one thing zeroed out at the same point. And that's been working. That works fine. But it's just when I try to do multicam that it does.
Yeah, so let's see the output, right? What's going on there?
This is this sequence after I've run each individual track through TimeBolt and then have deleted things that are unnecessary.
Okay, yeah, so you shifted A9 to A1 and A2. Is that it?
Yeah, I just because it adds all the videos from the sequences that I don't need and stuff.
Okay, so what it did is it removed the side by side. Is that what you're saying? It removed the multicam?
Yeah, it removed the multicam actual function, which is the reason I think it's a bug is because this sequence is still a multicam sequence.
That's okay,
that's what I was saying. It's still calling back to this sequence, which is a multicam sequence.
It's not calling back to the sequence. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It calls the source file.
Okay, but why then when I click reveal in project, does it do this? It does
do that, but it in the code itself, it's calling the source file because it cannot call one of these sequences. That's why the audio is all messed up because it doesn't sync with the sequence because you added the padding, right? And you added the padding, you made certain changes to the sequence, but the file is being called to the source.
Okay, so why is the audio? All of these are sequences as well. Why are they fine?
They're fine? Are you sure they're fine?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Is I've been using sequences for weeks now with this, and they're fine. Like this, okay. I can double click on this, and it goes into this sequence with the padding in it. That works.
It wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. Is like.
It wasn't intended to.
Yeah, no, that's because I think when we were talking originally. You were like, well, it's not going to work with sequences. And I was like, well, it does.
Okay.
I got it to work with a workaround. But that's why I'm confused about the multicam because like it is still pointing to this.
Okay, can you explain to me what the multicam function is? Like what does it do exactly?
So it is a nested sequence that lets you here. This is literally what it is right here is if I open a multicam sequence here, it is just a nested sequence that Premiere has some kind of API that lets you change the camera. So like right here, for example, if I were to make a cut and I said, okay, so for this portion of the video, I want this camera to show, then you can see it changes to MC2 instead of MC1.
Okay.
And that it allows you to have a nested sequence where you can like go through and change cameras on the fly without having to, have a billion tracks.
Understood. Okay.
And it's really helpful. Like the reason I use it daily is because I edit multicam podcasts where it's completely necessary.
Understood. So it's a way to switch between cameras. So the problem is that let me reiterate. So the issue is that when the edits happen, they don't retain which camera you selected. Is that it? Not
which camera I selected. It just because I haven't selected any of the cameras, I just leave it as the default one before because this is the sequence. This is the sequence right here before I've done any of the TimeBolt stuff, and I just say that as a backup because of the you can't Control Z 1 trillion times, just in case something goes wrong. But this is directly after. So also the weird thing is it's choosing the second camera as the one that gets dumped.
It doesn't retain the cameras. It doesn't retain the tracks is what you're saying?
Right. So like if I go in here and I open this one, this is the sequence that it's calling to. Just like if I were to double click this one, it would bring me to this sequence.
Correct.
I can't double click on a multicam because it just brings up the multicam view in the source monitor. Oh, never mind. I guess I can on that one. And then so it's calling track 2 as the one that it's retaining in this one. And this is why I think it's a Premiere bug, honestly, because I don't know why. Because like also what I can do is I can go in and say this one here, this sequence is 13308, and then I can bring that into the source monitor and I can say, hey, make that the endpoint, and I can drag this down, put it there, and now the multicam is back. I can't do that for every clip.
Okay, so I'll tell you what I'll do from my end. Now this is the first time I've heard of multicam. So what I'll do is I will watch a tutorial on how to set this up from YouTube and set up a project myself and run the TimeBolt extension on it myself and see if I can figure it out and see if I can find the bug. And if I can't, I'll need to get back on call with you to figure it out. Is that cool?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I know this is like a super fringe case, so it's not a huge deal. But yeah, that would be great.
Okay, let's do it then. I'll.
Awesome.
Perfect. Well, Dylan, thank you for joining us. Feel free to stick around if you would like. We've got next up Joanne.
Hi.
Hi. How can we help you today?
For mine is TimeBolt with PluralEyes. You know the multicams?
Quinston, I think you're.
Is that the product from Red Giant?
Yes, that's
Yes.
the one.
PluralEyes.
PluralEyes.
Plural sight or PluralEyes? PluralEyes.
Plural.
Plural
PluralEyes.
sight.
Is it? No, it's not a site.
Plural
PluralEyes.
sight. No, it's not.
Okay, hold on. Let me just...
I haven't used it before. So
It
I don't
auto
know.
syncs up. It auto syncs up. I believe your
Okay.
video now.
Yes,
Let me go to the
I'm
website.
wedding editor, and all the B-rolls that I take, I put everything there, and so PluralEyes syncs all of that, including like multiple audios and stuff. But the thing is, when everything is stacked all together, I couldn't seem to use TimeBolt to do the. I'm trying to find one online tutorial and stuff. I don't see one.
So TimeBolt would effectively work on an exported file, right? Like you export like an audio file or a video file, and then you. I
Yes.
don't know what sequence or what format PluralEyes will give you. Like what format does it give the output in?
1 moment, please.
You can share your screen if you
Can
want
I share
to
my
show
screen?
us. Yeah, of
All
course.
right. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
So yeah, there's one featured film, and the first look, that's one of those XML file from PluralEyes. I think this is the one. When you open PluralEyes, it show you this. So you just drag all the files there. But then, so after they gave me the file, XML file, this is what it looks like. It gives
Oh,
me
wow,
all
okay.
of this
A lot of-
there. Yeah, but the thing is, when I put in the B-rolls, you know, the pretty shots, it doesn't allow me to use the TimeBolt. So this is my timeline. So
yeah, unfortunately, I don't think you'll be able to use the extension on files like these.
No?
Usually you will need a longer file that is a single timeline, and each track will be one long file. And my best guess is to run it post, like export whatever you have into a video file, which you can make it as lossless as possible.
Okay.
And then import it back into TimeBolt, into Premiere Pro, and then run the because this probably will not give you what you want. I don't think. Yeah, I don't, because this is too complicated. There are too many cuts and files.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I know. So that's fine. I'll just listen anyway. I'm not gonna leave the chat.
Yeah.
I'll ask questions later about
Sure.
JCut and LCut. Thank you very much for your help.
Yeah.
You bet, Joanne. We'll
Bye.
get back. We'll get back with you. The next person up is Tajarsis. Tajaris.
TJ, I'm Thaddeus from the forum.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
How you doing, Thaddeus?
pretty good. How are you?
Good.
This morning.
We're good.
So, like, from what I was mentioning from the forum post. So, the audio, the tracks that I work with for my work is usually are 4 audio tracks for my the videos that I edit. You can't see I don't know if this pops up on the screen. I pull over here, but so this is from the XML file. These are the files that I brought in after using TimeBolt. So this is what it looks like if I just drag like the actual MP4 in. So like this, like the final MP4, the part 1 MP4. Yeah. So this is just when I drag it in. As you can see, all of the audio tracks are split into actual like left, right.
You have like 8 audio tracks. Is that it?
Yeah. So it's become 8 audio tracks after it goes through TimeBolt. And if I go to like the actual one that's cut up, you can see there's only 4 audio tracks, and it's missing 2 of them, and the 2 on the bottom here. Like if this was just all split up and it was all 8, I could just recombine them pretty easily, right? Because if they're left, right, it's not that much of a big of a deal.
You could do one thing though. I mean, what you could do is you can copy and paste the last 2, because at the end of the day, it's just a clip, right? So if you select the first audio track, if you select all of the clips in the first audio track, so if you select only the first parts, like the first audio track, you can right click on it.
Hang on, let me just like pull this out. It's kind of laggy while Zoom's open.
Yeah, so you can select the first track,
Mhm.
and then you can right click on it.
Right.
And then there's an option for audio channels. It's
Yeah, audio channels.
Yeah, audio channels. And then
Right.
you can select which audio channel you want.
Right.
If you see, there are 8 of them, right? 1, 2,
Mhm.
3, 4, 5, 7, 8. So each of them is right, left, right, left, right, left, or left, right, left, right. And then what you can do is, so what
Just-
happened in TimeBolt is they combined it in, so they took 8
Mhm.
and they combined it into 4. So that's what happened. So you
I
can select which
see, I
channels you
see.
want.
Yeah. So if I do,
Yeah, so you can separate them out if you want. You can just make more copies of the same audio channels, and then you can like set individually if you want to.
right. So would this have the missing audio on it?
It will. I think it should, because these are different channels, right? So TimeBolt, I think, confused the monos with the stereo. Instead of outputting a
Right.
mono, it outputed stereo.
Oh, I'm seeing it here. So even if I like use this one and do audio channels, this should be the actual vocals. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's perfect.
Quinston
Does that
making
solve it?
mornings.
Yeah, there we go. That's awesome. That's a very nice solution.
I mean, it's flexible like that. You can make more, like you can even make more.
Right.
sets
Yeah.
in,
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much. That
Cool.
should be good. Sweet.
Thanks for joining us, TJ.
Of course.
And Tanya, you are up next. What can we help you with?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Very good.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm not as skilled. I
Neither am
am
I.
skilled with the basics, but I'm not as into audio, video. I mean, I do video editing, but very light. So here's my question. I was using TimeBolt, or I am using TimeBolt, because I'm taking my reels that I create using an app called Ecamm Live. I'm creating my reels, and then I'm cutting out, I'm doing the jump cuts and all of that. It sounds great when it comes out of Ecamm Live and goes into TimeBolt, but when I export it from TimeBolt, it sounds like my audio is doing this. It's kind of going up and down. So I tried playing around a little bit with the, I think the settings, and in the settings where it has audio normalization and volume increase, I thought, well, maybe one of those things is doing something to it. But I can't figure out what's making that happen. And I was about to send a support ticket when I saw your email. So I thought, let me jump on.
Quinston, what's a good way to kind of diagnose this? Do you want to? Is it possible to hear the audio? Like,
Yeah, can you hear it? Can
you
see
share your
something?
screen and
Yeah, I
just
think
play
so. Yeah, I can share it and then just share, do the advanced share with the audio. I will give you the first one that sounded a little funky, and I'm going to open it and share screen. Hold on. Okay, there it is. I think it's going to show with this QuickTime player. Okay, this is so whack. Stop. Let me make sure I'm sharing the screen with the audio, because I don't have that.
And we could hear
it. But when I switched from professional mode when I switched from personal Facebook profile to professional mode,
Did you add the background music in TimeBolt?
I did.
Nice.
But even without, I did it both ways. So I did it once without background music and then once with background music. And in both situations, my voice is what's happening. It's going up and down. But in the original export from Ecamm Live, it sounds fine. Like my original is clear and it's straight across. It's normalized, equalized, whatever the proper term is. But then afterwards, it's like, no.
So the audio pre-processing, and I think I understand the question. You click the audio normalization buttons, stuff like that. Yeah, that's strictly for preview only. Okay.
Oh.
And once you click those buttons, once you check the audio normalization, that's to create more defined waveforms. So when you're previewing, because some people record at lower decibel volumes and whatnot, and that gets flatter. It just really helps delineate. Okay. While you listen to it in the preview through TimeBolt, once you click those, the preview audio is degraded, okay, but the output
should be what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
And if you want to show us what your settings are in TimeBolt, I'll be happy to check those out for you real quick.
I'll move it over a little bit bigger.
Okay, so you've got transitions. All right, this is what it is, Quinston. Do you hear like any clicking noises or anything like that with your transitions, like in the audio?
I think I did hear a slight clicking.
I would recommend having your padding a little higher. Up to so the left padding should be around 0.5.
Not 0.05, but 0.5?
0.5, yeah, 0.5.
Okay.
And that's because you're using transitions. As you can see, if you could explain that again one more time. See how
what happens is that when you're using transitions, right, there needs to be some sort of leeway between the clips to allow for the transition to, not combine sound. Because if the sound gets like intermixed, it will create popping between the sound. It won't be very smooth flowing.
Okay.
The sound interferes with each other, and that's what creates the popping sound.
I wonder if that had impact on, I'll have to listen to it after I update the detection. That makes sense. Okay.
So
Awesome.
if you look at the waveform, like if you scroll up and look at the waveform itself, like you see those edges, like the left. So if you have the first clip, in that you have the left and the right edges, right? So there must be enough space on the edges to where the transitions can actually not overlap with the sound. So if the transition is 0.5 seconds, it means that you need to have at least double of that area, that space, that it doesn't overlap the sound itself.
Are my other settings appropriate, or should I change any of those?
No, everything else is fine.
Well, I mean, your remove silence is longer than we typically recommend that put that at a 0.5 when you're rendering inside TimeBolt.
Okay.
It just eliminates, just a bunch of micro cuts.
You can click on the update silence detection.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the problem. This is the problem, Quinston. The left padding and the right padding. Okay, if her transition duration is 0.1, okay, what is the minimum viable for left and right? So 0.15?
I think it's like the filter value. Can you change the 45.571 to 30?
Just the left padding at 0.5 is huge.
Yeah, 0.5 is huge. Let's try something else then.
So 0.15, correct? Because we're saying...
Oh, yeah, sorry, 0.15, yeah. 0.15.
Okay,
0.1
that's the one I was
actually
asking about. I was like, oh, that's a
0.1
big
might
jump.
be okay. Yeah.
Okay.
0.1. That's my bad. Oh, yeah, now
No, I was playing with that when I first picked it up, and I thought, oh, I need to reduce that. Okay.
And you're going to want to pick up more audio, okay? I learned this about my own product last week. Okay, you increase the filter below sound value to get more audio captured. And as you can see at like 16 seconds right there, you can see how you've got a little green in the red. So that's why our default comes at around minus 35 dB. So if you put that up to minus 35, okay, now you can see you've got much cleaner cuts, right? So that's now with your transition duration put at the proper levels. It's very possible that this, I mean, you could hit add to render queue and then start rendering and see what happens.
Okay.
And just just let us know in a couple minutes after it gets done rendering.
And I'll let somebody else ask a question while I'm doing that. Thank you.
You bet. Now, Joanne, did you say you had some additional questions? What and are you just getting started off with TimeBolt?
Yeah, I just bought TimeBolt last week and I'm trying to get on it. But the thing is, I don't know how when multicam stickers because I use PluralEyes all the time. So when I'm inside Premiere Pro and I try to do TimeBolt on create multiple camera there, I don't know how to navigate it somehow.
Even I wouldn't. There are too many cuts to navigate. That's.
Well, I can use it.
So is the solution
is it just for
yeah, so the solution that I would think is either you apply the cuts after you render the video, like you render but then I also don't know how that would work because you need the cuts, right? Because you need to alter them if the client has some sort of, if they want to change certain things about the video, you would need to keep those files too. It has to come before PluralEyes or after.
For example, right? For the ceremony, can I do this? Because I've seen this on one of the YouTube videos from an editor guy. So for such ceremony, from start to beginning, it takes like 15 minutes. So he laid all the weddings and then nested all together and then export it as just a cookie cutter, which is just audio file, which is like the less video quality, and then upload it on TimeBolt. And then from there again, they put the cuts on top of it and then just cut and paste.
That's possible.
Yes,
can
that work?
You can do that. I think you can. I mean, what you can
but
do
is it for small projects?
I would say you need to think about this from the perspective of individual clips rather than whole, like like TimeBolt will not help you create the final project where you have a lot of B-roll, a lot of editing, it's not meant, because it's very difficult to apply a workflow in that process. What it essentially will help you in is if you have like a large video file or a large file which has silent audio and you want to cut that out very quickly, that's where it will help you. Like you said, you have a time-lapse video, like a time-lapse video where you're recording something for 15 minutes and you want to figure out where the activity is. So you can export the WAV file, put it in TimeBolt, get the cuts, and then run it on the timeline in Premiere Pro, and then figure out, okay, this is the important part. And then take that file and then put it in your main project, which is your B-roll and everything combined together.
All right. Thank you.
So so think about TimeBolt as more of a preprocessor. It's a preprocessor to your project. It probably won't be used in the final project where you are creating the entire movie, but it'll be used prior to that. So it's like you're preparing the file for the B-roll or the main movie.
So it's mostly, it has to have a long audio wavelength, and then from there. Okay.
So it's supposed to like cut out large chunks which you don't want to do yourself.
Now the only problem I have with it was, okay, so for the ceremony, it has like from the beginning to end, which is a long audio wave file. But the thing is, there is, let's say, 3 to 4 cameras like on the other side of the face of the bride, the face of the groom, and then the officiant. So it's not all the same ones. That's the only problem I have when I put it all together.
It's a little difficult when you have so many files to work with. I don't have a good solution for you, unfortunately.
That's okay. I'll try to find out the updates maybe next time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
You're welcome.
And Quinston, it sounds like we've got some exciting product updates to share. Got 1.5. We're adding 1.5x to the.
I'll share my screen. Yeah.
Excellent.
The new features we're adding is essentially, a few customers told us that we need to have a way to drag and drop files. So we have now a drag and drop thing where you can just drop it anywhere on the UI. And it'll work. Next, what we're doing is that now if you have the timeline, then you can even have like if you right click on the timeline, you can punch in a certain percentage. So when you have talking head video, you want to like zoom in and zoom out, you can do that directly in the timeline. So if I say punch in for 50%, it basically gives you a punched in view. So when you export to Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, or you render out a video, it will punch in. It will like, if you have a face, if it's somebody's face, it will zoom into the face. And then, and then you can have something like punch in 25%. And if you want to reset the punch in, so it just takes off. That's what we're doing. Then we also added a 1.5x speed, so you can move the glide through the timeline at 1.5x speed to make sure like, and if you have the 1.5x set up, if you press L and then you press L twice, instead of it goes from 1.5 and to 1 to.
Now what happens if once you hit the spacebar, if I hit spacebar again, will it resume at 1.5?
It resets, but it goes back to 1.5.
It resets to 1.5. So the drop down is really like the master. It's like the master default. Okay.
Correct. Then we made a change where we're still working on this, but instead of calling this export options, we're calling it additional export options so that people don't get confused between these two.
Makes sense. Great.
So yeah, that's what's going to come in the next update. So this punch in, punch out will be available also in the FCP XML and the XML. So if you export to Premiere Pro, it will still be available there. You don't have to do it manually, and obviously be available directly if you render the video.
Fantastic. Do you have a rendered video? Can you render this? Just to
I don't have a rendered video, but I mean, I don't have a talking head video right now.
Do you see, I love the right click option. Do you also see the ability to eventually turn that into a quick key, like a P or something like that? It just kind of cycles through the 25, 50, 75 back to normal. Awesome, man.
This is punched in 150%. It punched in.
Dude, that's cool.
It's not a talking head video, so it's not a good example. Punch in again. Yeah, it works.
No, that's really great, because a lot of times you are showing something on a screen that's centered up on your screen, and what a nice way not to have to go back and do that in the design editor, instead using a P. What does does everybody think about punch in and punch out? You excited about that? I am. I'm really excited. Yeah, we got some useful comments in there. We've also got, I'll share, just wanted to give some feedback. We got some feedback from Peter on the capture portion of this. And I think it was it Joanne? Got some feedback, Quinston, our community. And so this is basically some of the things that we had known about being able to choose which monitor. I guess he has 4 of them. So being able to choose which monitor, move the camera picture wherever you like, as it is. It's not. Well, that has to do with like being on the right screen. And again, our capture is in beta right now. We certainly see the importance of these features, and we'll get to it at some point. Some good UI tips and stuff for capture when it comes out as well, like a countdown. And certainly, we think really speeding up the workflow is after you capture that video, it auto pushes right into TimeBolt, runs its automated settings, and we think that's one fast linear workflow. So that's something that we'll be focusing on after we get some of these other awesome features in.
We will do that. Render might be we'll focus on that once we're done with the current.
Okay, so she used it for live streaming. I'll check out and see what exactly that application does. And
does it stream to Instagram?
Hold on. No, it doesn't. It won't. I don't know of anything that reliably would do that to Instagram, but yeah, it streams to Restream or to OneStream Live, and then it goes to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I've been using it for that purpose, but also because I've finally decided to suck it up and start doing Reels. I'm doing the Reels because it's easy to create the vertical output.
Correct.
Yeah, without having to use my phone or whatever. So yeah, that's the purpose that I'm using it for.
So there's no software that can stream to Instagram?
There are apps that claim to be able to, such as Yellow Duck and a few others, but I don't typically recommend those to my clients that I work with because I've heard some things about people getting banned for that use. Really, from the terms of use, it's really supportive of mobile device usage.
Oh, like the account is banned.
The purpose of Instagram Live, you're supposed to be using it on the mobile device. So I don't ever recommend anyone using particular platforms to stream directly into Instagram Live.
So one of the thing that you really like about Ecamm then is that the proportions are already set. So you can
there's a whole lot more.
9 or 3x4.
Yeah, it's all the output. So any type of size that you want, but it's also about having banners, and it's about having, you can make it what you want to. You can make it movie production style, do Keynote, PowerPoint slides, Google Slides, all of that. Add music. You can do just about anything with Ecamm Live.
Yeah, we certainly see as those capabilities increase. I mean, all the design is already happening on the screen, right? And so we're cutting time out of video is often the only thing that you really need to do with some of these better capture tools. So fantastic. Well, thanks for that explanation. Great. Well, thank you very much. And that concludes today's version of TimeBolt Live with Office Hours with Doug and Quinston. Smash the like, hit the subscribe button. Of course, click the notification bell. No, I still didn't script that out, Quinston, but it's great.
You need to write a script for that.
Yeah, great being here, and look forward to releasing these new features. Thank you very much.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining.